How to build credit after a bankruptcy discharge. Let's get straight to it. What up, you got Mr. Smith, 0.5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video, I want to talk to you about building credit after a bankruptcy discharge. Bankruptcy is an unfortunate scenario that a lot of people ended up filing due to them feeling like they had no other options. I personally come from the belief that there is always some other options, always some better scenarios than to file bankruptcy, due to the fact that it stays on your credit and it does some other things that can damage your credit. However, bankruptcy has been used as a wealth building strategy for those who understand how to go about doing it. And then, of course, after a lot of people start gaining an understanding of how to do it, what ended up happening is they ended up changing some of the rules, but I believe people are still benefiting from it. That's beyond my scope of practice, beyond my knowledge, but just based on what I see that it does to a person's credit, I believe there were some other angles that the person possibly could have taken. However, in the case that you have filed for bankruptcy, and that's neither here nor there, and it's in the past, how do you bounce back? Because you can always bounce back. That's what I want you to understand. There's always a way for you to bounce back and overcome whatever it is that you've dealt with. So that being said, that's what this video is all about. So now that you're in a position to bounce back and you mentally know that there is better in the future, let's talk about it. So it all boils down to you getting a full understanding of how credit works, understanding all 5 factors. And you need to listen up to the end so you can understand all 5 factors and how they play a part in you bouncing back or recovering after a bankruptcy discharge. And typically, just for those who may not know, a discharge typically happens after the statute of limitation has been reached, but sometimes it may happen prior to that as well. So how do you go about recovering after the bankruptcy discharge? Well, understanding the 5 factors, because now you're in a position where you want to get some things that may still be on your credit report deleted, but at the same time, you need to understand how to build good credit. And that's going to be very key and very important, because your history shows, based on your credit profile, that you have done some things that aren't necessarily what creditors like. Some things that may not have necessarily fulfilled the agreements that you may have set previously. So it's going to be highly important for you to build some new good payment history, some new good positive things report to your score. Why? Because now you got to prove yourself. So you got more to prove than a person who may have already had some good on their credit report. However, that doesn't mean that you can't move at a rapid pace. And what do I mean? See, when you understand all 5 of the factors, then you know that you can have more than one thing working simultaneously. It's not like you have to do one thing, then another thing. It's some things that you can do simultaneously, and that helps to grow your score faster. The first factor you need to understand is payment history. Yes, your history reflects negative or poor payment history. However, from this day forward, you want to make sure that you're paying all bills on time, especially the ones that you know are reporting directly to your credit. That can be credit cards, phone bills. That can be anything that may be something you want to consider having reported. Like when people use Experian Boost, sometimes they're getting their streaming services reported, phone bills reported. So you want to make sure you're paying all things on time, because that's the direction where we're headed. In the sense that there's a lot of things that may not be being reported to your credit report, but they will be. So you want to get in the habit of paying all things on time. Why? That's 35% of your score, 192.5 points. When you understand that, now you're positioning yourself to say, okay, if it's 192.5 points on the table just by paying bills on time, how can I maximize those 192.5 points? 2 answers. Number 1, by making sure you're paying things on time going forward. And number 2, seeing if you can get certain things in the past deleted that may be negatively reporting on your credit report. And this may also include a goodwill letter with the creditor to see if they can update it from negative to positive. They're basically doing you a favor if y'all still have an open relationship, meaning the account is not in collection, charge off, or closed. It's just you want to get it updated to positive. So that's how you go about addressing the payment history, which is 35% of your score. So now we need to tackle the other 65%. Number 2, credit utilization. So what that means is you want to establish some type of credit card profile. I personally prefer unsecured credit cards. Those are the cards that you don't have to put any money down on. Now, I have seen certain ones work to the client's benefit. And if you want to know how to benefit from the card that I've seen to work in that scenario, I highly recommend you click one of the available links down below, and then you click on the link that says Save Money, Build Credit. Save Money, Build Credit. What that does is allow you to save a certain amount of money, and then eventually, or every time you're saving on a monthly basis, and it could be as low as $25, it's reporting to your credit. In addition to that, once you reach a certain threshold, now you're able to roll that over into a secure card. I have seen clients benefit from that. However, what I prefer is that a client establishes themselves and get certain things removed, and they get their credit at a certain place, above 600 preferably, and then do a pre-approval for a specific credit card or a group of credit cards that we recommend that allows them then to get an unsecured card that doesn't require them to pay down any money out of pocket. Why is that important? Because credit utilization is 165 points, 30% of your score. And the way that you get that is through lines of credit, typically a credit card. So if you have a credit card and you use it properly, now you're able to tap into that money that's being, or the points that's being left on the table. So when I say you handle it appropriately, what I mean is that when you're making payments on their credit card, if you use the card, make sure that you're carrying a balance that's less than 10%. So 5% would be a great gauge or a great number to aim at. What does that look like? If you have a $500 credit limit, you want to make sure that that credit balance is under $25. That's just using 5% as the example, under $25. So now you're showing, hey, I'm using the card. Even if you spent several $100s on that card, you're showing you're using the card, but you know how to pay it down at the end of the week or the end of 2 weeks on a monthly basis, so that it's only carrying a 5% or a single digit balance. That's going to be proper ways to, that's going to be a proper way in order to properly benefit from credit utilization. Over time, as you continue that habit, your credit limit can possibly be increased, and you may even be able to get other credit cards, which help to strengthen your credit utilization due to the lines of credit being higher and your buying power being higher than it typically would be. Now, those two together, payment history and credit utilization alone, is 65% of your score. The other 35%, I'll just run it together to make this video not so long, but the other three would be credit history. That's just the age of your credit. So since you filed bankruptcy, some of the old accounts on your profile may be benefiting you off of credit history alone, because it may be 10 years old, 8 years old, 6 years old. Even though it's negative, the credit history is contributing some to your overall score. So that's important. The last two is new credit and credit mix. And if you follow the flow that we've just given you, you'll naturally have credit mix, and you'll have new credit because you'll be building new positives. When I say go to that link in the bio, and then it's a button that you'll see that says Save Money, Build Credit. When you click on that Save Money, Build Credit, what that does is establish new credit that can then roll over to even more new credit. So in that one swing, you're doing multiple things to help establish your credit. Now that you're doing that, it also helps with your credit mix. So now you went through one motion. You went through the process of getting things deleted. You making sure your payment history is intact. Got your credit card, lines of credit. You understand how to keep that balance. Now you understand credit history and the importance that even some negative accounts may have played, but now you also understand new credit and credit mix. New credit is basically the most recent 2 years and how it has one of the largest effects on your credit. So you want to make sure your most recent stuff is saying good things about you, because that plays a huge role in your overall credit score. And then the mixture is just a way of showing the creditors, showing the bank, showing the lenders that you're capable of managing multiple types of credit, which then gives you more points. There are a few more things that go into it, but that is enough for you to bounce back from bankruptcy after it has gone through its process, and that way you can benefit from a holistic approach to bettering your score, because it's all about having a quality score, not just doing some quick fix. We want to make sure that after your bankruptcy discharge, you're in a good place. If you haven't already grabbed a free credit class, make sure you benefit from that. If you need our assistance along your journey, make sure that you set up a free consultation. We'll ask you a few questions and see if you qualify to work with us. And if we definitely want to bring you on as a client, then we'll let you know those options as well. But nonetheless, hopefully this video gave you something tangible that you can take, run with, use of value, and you can thank us later. That's all I got for this video. Mr. Smith signing out. Salute.